Hey guys, so it is the 25th, I want to say, of November. I've started losing days actually because I've been so busy. I did record an art sound off for yesterday. That is private. I'm going to only share it with my backers because it was 11:30 at night and I was exhausted and I got interrupted by family and I wasn't really talking about anything anyway. So consider this sort of a makeup for that since I had an idea. So this morning I was participating in an illustration chat on Twitter and they said that you could share images and get a critique. Well, I'm on my phone right now. Like, I'm in Louisiana. I don't really have steady internet access. I never know when I'm going to get pulled away. So I'm pretty much phone only. So I'm digging through my phone trying to find images to share because I'm trying to start putting myself out there and participate more in illustration things and not just comic things. And literally all I had were the brightest images that I had done for some field tests for the channel. So I was like, sure, why not? And then when I sent those off, the response was that my work is too saturated, my colors look too out of the tube, and that I should look to Miyazaki for how to use colors, which I think is super funny. Like, not even kidding, because the biggest complaint anybody ever has about my work, from editors to the regular buyer, is that to them it looks too much like Studio Ghibli. Because 7-inch Kara and most of my actual work, most of my actual watercolor work is very natural colors, lower saturation. I pretty much only use saturated colors on Naomi because she wears human clothes and those would be colored with synthetic dyes, whereas all of the other characters and items in the 7-inch Kara world tend to be a little more muted and subdued because I'm trying to create this sort of dichotomy. But I just thought it was really interesting because I didn't have any images on my phone from my comic. I'd had to delete those to make room for videos and the photos I take for the blog. And what it got me thinking about is I have this really wide range of kidlit stuff, a really wide range of styles. I can do a lot of things, especially when it comes to kidlit, and I am terrible at representing myself. Somehow I always manage to find the very worst ways, the very worst things to show people to represent what I do. I'm just awful at it. Self-editing, especially when it comes to art and images, has always been difficult for me because I feel like I'm really bad at predicting what people want to see or giving them what they want to see. And this wasn't the sort of opportunity where I could just give them my Webflow link and they could see that I have a super wide range. I had 4 images at most. I think most people were sending 1. And I just wanted to make sure that I hit, like, you know, a digital image, a comic page, something traditional, etc. But I just thought, I really have trouble representing myself well. And I wonder if I do that at cons. In fact, I'm sure I do it at cons. My table is always overfloweth because I'm always trying to please a super wide gamut of audience, and I'm always trying to please price ranges from like $2 and less to like $100, right? And like that's not good for me. That hasn't been working for me. It's sort of like how I span the gamut when it comes to everything I do. From art education, where I do in-person panels, I can teach from elementary school up to college, but maybe I need to specialize. Maybe I need to focus on specializing more. When I was going to school, both for undergrad and at graduate school at SCAD, the big thing people kept saying is you need more diversity, you need more diversity, you need to branch out. And I've done that, and now I have so much that people can only see a little bit of that, and then they decide who I am. So I thought talking about representation and how we represent ourselves and how we portray ourselves is really, really important. I know a lot of you guys persist in thinking I'm younger than you when, you know, you're in your 20s, and I keep telling you guys I'm 30. That's another example of misrepresentation on my end. I know I look young, I know I dress young, I know I talk about things that you guys are interested in. I know I talk a lot about middle grade and high school education. Those are all things I am interested in. Those are all areas that I see in this country that greatly need art help, greatly need someone to reach in with the knowledge and the skill set. But the reason I can talk to you about some of these things is because I have that MFA. I went to SCAD. I did my time there. I have another terminal degree in sequential art. You know, I spent that time. I've done all these shows. You know, there's a lot to my work that there's so much to it I can't really represent it very well. I can only give you guys little bites, and that's not working for me. I got to figure something out. So sharing this with you guys in case you ever get into my situation where for years people never really jived with what you did, so you just kept adding new things to try and please everyone, and now you can do so many things but no one's willing to give you enough time to think of, no one is telling you directly what they're looking for, and so you're guessing, and you're just guessing wrong. And I don't really have a solution for that because I haven't figured that out yet. But I think it's something we can talk about, something worth talking about, worth discussing, and maybe we can find some solutions together. So I wanted to show you guys today some of the work that I care about the most, the work that means the most to me, the reason I'm doing any of this, and that is to show you guys some 7-inch Cara pages. I've recorded many videos on that, but they are massive videos. I mean, like 6-hour-long workshops that we're still trying to find ways to condense. So while I have that content, I don't really have a way yet to show it to you guys. So I'm just gonna sit down and flip through things and show you guys what I've been working on. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Okay, I apologize for my recording situation. Like I said, I'm still out of town, so my options are super duper limited. Had to go where there is good natural light, because you need good natural light to see watercolors in their best light, and that means upstairs where there's less noise, and I had to move a bunch of stuff because there's a bunch of stuff on the landing. So thanks, younger brother, for piling your stuff up in front of my door. Anyway, we'll start with my Cara pages, and these are the most recent pages from Volume 1 and Volume 2. Volume 2 is in progress, but Volume 1 is available on my site. And that's natosoup.com/products, and today until tomorrow, and I can't guarantee that this will go up in time, unfortunately, because cell phone service in Luling is abysmal. You can save 20% off that $15 book by using the Small Business Saturday code SMALLBIZ, SMALLBIZ, and that's at checkout. So these are all watercolor pages from chapters 3 and chapters 4. Here we introduce Naomi and Pancake for the first time. And this comic is pretty dang self-indulgent. It's all the sort of things I would want to see, all the things I was disappointed with as a kid, with The Borrowers and other books about tiny people. There was never any cat writing, and that was something I desperately needed. And this is the start of chapter 5. That's the first volume in volume 2, first chapter in volume 2, and you can get a digital PDF copy on my Gumroad, gumroad.com/natosoup, and those are lettered. So I don't letter my pages traditionally. I letter them digitally in Photoshop, and I am working on tutorials on how to do that in case you guys are interested. Oh, I love that panel. The smell panel. It smells so good. And then these are the flashback scenes. And for this chapter, I wanted to go, usually I have, like I said, these sort of muted, more natural color palettes, but for the flashbacks, I wanted to capture like a mother's vivid childhood memories, and sort of like memories in Technicolor, where everything seems better and brighter and more alive. So Meldina, Cara's mom's memories, are definitely brighter than the story itself, but I really like the color palette for that as well. And it also tends to have a simpler style. Hearkening to memories, memories tend to lose some fidelity. We tend to idealize them. So then we're back in with the more muted colors and the more detailed shading. And then chapter 6, which I really feel like is a turning point for my art. I had to spend a year working on other projects. I finished painting Gizmo Grandma last year, and so I did a bunch of studies, and I did a lot of tutorials for you guys, and a lot of blog stuff, a lot of field tests. So I spent a lot of time painting, but not painting pages. So you can see there's a huge difference in ability, where I really feel like my art really started to hit a stride that makes it its own thing, makes it unique. And I've been painting almost every single day, usually every day. The only reason I'm not painting here is because I've been doing digital stuff, but I've been painting pretty much every day for the past 4 years. And there's actually a lot more of chapter 6. It just didn't make it into the portfolio. So, speaking of a lot more painting, these are my original watercolors. And there's some marker pieces in here. I'm sorry if the camera shakes. I have it on a selfie stick. But this is how I put in, oh, it's upside down. This is how I put in a lot of my mileage. And if you guys see something you love, it is available in my shop. Or you can check these pieces out on my portfolio if you want to see a better version. So this is my little cowgirl series. There's 4 of them. They are the different times of day. I really like Western wear, in case you guys can't tell. I would unironically dance like it was a square dance every day if I had the money to buy a new outfit. Well, buy all new clothes, really. And this is all still in one place from Noga's Fest, so there's some fan art stuff too. So I'm sure you guys will recognize some of these pieces, but as you can see, there's a lot, and all of this is pretty much 2016. So, realistic watercolor studies, because I got angry because this old man watercolorist was like, comics aren't real, comics aren't art. So I was like, I'll show you. That's the guy who hadn't even seen them. And some just like loose light studies, just getting used to a particular watercolor kit, wanting to do some studies when I didn't have time to do full pieces. A lot of these are tutorials that need to be edited. So if you're like, I want to do that, I'm working on it. Some of these are markers, which in terms of aesthetic are very similar to watercolors. Tend to be brighter, tend to be more synthetic looking colors, if that is a thing you care about. These are definitely bright and synthetic. They're Pokemon and a Gundam. Well, it's Zaku technically. But yeah, what basically happens is somebody will say something about what I can't do, and I'll go off and do it. Especially when it comes, no, this was to test the paper. I didn't really like how this turned out. It's also marker combined with watercolor, combined with brusho, and she looks crazy. She looks like she just set the world on fire. And then these are all inks, which I'm not going to show you guys because they're con style, and I don't really feel like that represents my work. And then I have these minis that are just sort of like consumer grade compilations of everything I did. So this is going to be hard to flip. I'm going to have to flip through it backwards at best. But it's really high quality scans, high quality prints of the watercolor work I did in late 2015. Like these were from ALA. I painted these minis to sell, or to give away really. If any librarian bought 5 copies of 7-inch Cara, they were going to get an original that was matted, except that didn't work out like that. So I have a bunch of them now, and they're all in the shop. Because a bunch of those librarians were told that they did not have buying power anymore. That was a good year to decide to do ALA for the first time. And these are all just little realistic photo studies from reference, because somebody said that I can't paint realistically. I got mad and went home and painted a bunch, one a day, timed myself 3 hours each. This one's actually up on YouTube. You guys can see the time lapse for that. I really liked how that one turned out. Food and floral studies, usually working on Strathmore watercolor paper, which is garbage. So you basically have to like relearn how to watercolor in order to handle it. I was really working on like that push and pull, that sort of bouncy, glossy, juicy look in watercolor, which is really hard on that Strathmore paper because it sloughs paint if you add layers. I'm sorry, it doesn't want to focus. My hand is probably shaking a lot. My body is not a tripod. And then some tone paper stuff, and some just cute, like whatever I felt like doing stuff, more tone paper. This is when I was doing a bunch of marker and paper compatibility tests, which are recorded. I know you guys care about that. Just needs to get edited, right? Like everything else. That's why I'm so tired of doing those Sketchbox versus Art Snacks things, because like they take up so much time I never get to do the things I need to do. This is my black and white sketchbook, so it's mostly stuff from my actual sketchbook. So inks and studies and cute stuff, because I draw a lot of different things during the year. But that's just like a quick overview. Anyway, like I said, I have a lot of range and I'm not always really good at representing it, so I have all this stuff. But then you got to get people to take a chance on you and take a look at it and watch more than one thing, or look at more than one thing, or click on more than one thing. And I have yet to find an image or a video that really just condenses who I am and what I do into one thing. So this was a bonus art sound off for yesterday about representation, me sharing my struggle with it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please consider checking out other videos in this playlist or subscribing to my channel. I will see you guys again today with another art sound off.